Hello everyone, it's Mafalda and welcome back to another video. Of course I have to have some kind of background noise, so if you can hear someone kind of like cutting their grass or something, I'm so sorry about that. Like, I never have a quiet video. So today, as you can tell from the title of this video, I will be doing a really big book unhaul. I don't remember the last time I did a book unhaul on my channel. Like, I used to do them pretty frequently, but then I just stopped doing them. And it doesn't mean that I didn't get rid of books. I just periodically got rid of 1 or 2 or 3 books, and it was never like a big amount to make a video of the books, so I never really did a book unhaul since my last book unhaul, maybe like a year and a half ago or something. But today I will be getting rid of close to 40 books, which is a lot, and you may be wondering like, why are you getting rid of so many books? There's a lot of reasons, but the main reason is that I think I will do a video on this, but I think my view on books, especially physical books, has changed a lot in the past couple of months. That doesn't mean I don't like reading anymore, it's just like I don't feel like keeping books that I don't like and that don't bring me joy. Also, another reason is that maybe this year I will move out and I have too many books to move with me, so I have to start getting rid of some books, and this was a really good start for that. And basically I just went through my whole bookshelves of the books that I've read. I didn't really go through my TBR card because most of those books I'm still interested in, but in my bookshelves I went through every single book, and I just thought to myself, like, there are only 2 reasons why I should keep a book. The first one is if it's like a favorite, if it's a 5-star, and if it brings me joy just to have it in my collection. And the second reason is if I want to reread a book. I have a lot of books that I want to reread and some others that I'm like, I'm not going to reread it right now because it's still pretty recent in my head, but I know that I will want to reread it because I really liked it at the time. So basically I'm just keeping books that I really like, which makes sense. I don't know why I've been keeping so many books that just don't bring me joy, that I gave like 2, 3, sometimes 3.5 stars, that just like I don't feel like I will ever pick up again. It doesn't make any sense why I would keep them. I had a few reasons for keeping them. Sometimes it's just because I have the worst memory, and having like physical proof of the books that I've read really helps me like know the books that I've read. Another reason is very stupid, but it's covers. Sometimes covers are just like so pretty, I want to keep them, but it's like I didn't really enjoy the contents of the book, so it makes no sense for me to keep them. There have been many reasons and basically excuses why I've kept books on my bookshelves. But I'm done with excuses, and basically I went through every single book and I have like 38, 39 books to show you today, and I will try to go quickly with my reasonings. I will honestly sometimes not have a specific reason. I'm just like, I don't want this book in my collection, and that's it. But yeah, I will try to go through them pretty quickly. And another thing is that I will try to sell most of these books in the coming weeks, and I will leave my trade stories link down below. And if you are from Portugal and you want any of these books that I'm about to show you, just message me on trade stories and I can give you the book. And if in the next coming weeks they don't sell, I will probably donate them to either the library or just like any place, honestly. I'm just like, I want to get rid of these books. That's that, and let's start this unhaul. So I will try to do it quickly, but yeah, we'll never know. So the first 2 books that I have here are beloved book talk books that I just... One of them I actually liked when I read it, but I just don't want to reread it ever again in my life. And my opinions on this book have drastically changed because of many reasons that I will not go into right now. But basically, the first book that I was just talking about is A Little Life by Anya Nagahara. I read this book, I really liked it at the time. My opinion has changed about the author and about the book as well. and I just don't feel like having it. By the way, this copy, like, I break all of my spines. That is something that if you want any of my books, you should know. Most of the spines are broken. This one is basically all broken, like all throughout the 700 pages this book has. It's just completely broken. But yeah, Little Life by Ani Nagahara. Don't want to keep it. And yeah, that's it. And the next book is another beloved book talk book, and it's The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This is a book that I was basically saving for the cover. I think this cover is gorgeous, but the book was pretty middle of the road for me, so I just don't feel like ever rereading it again. And I still want to read Circe by Madeline Miller. I feel like I'm going to like that one a lot more. So yeah, we'll get rid of this one. Next book that I have here is another one that was pretty middle of the road. This one was one that I added pretty recently to my unhaul pile because I was still unsure about it, but I just don't want to. If I ever want to reread it, I will pick it up in any other form, like an ebook or audiobook, just whatever. And it's Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. This is one that I also love the cover of, but I don't know, I just have no strong feelings about it to keep it, basically. And yeah, I liked it, but not that much, you know? The next three books are books by YouTubers and just people that I admire a lot in life, and I was like, oh, they've written a book, so I have to try them. And the first example of that is Carrie Hope Fletcher. I love her so much. Like, I've been following her on YouTube since like 2011 or something, and I just admire her so much, and she's just like so talented. And when she started writing books, because she's also a really big bookworm, I was obviously interested in them, and so I got her first book, which was like nonfiction, just about her life and just like advice for young people, basically, you know, that type of book. So I got it, and when I read it, I really liked it, but I just don't see myself ever rereading it again. And now, as a 24-year-old, I just don't feel like this book will resonate with me in any way. And then she started writing fiction books, and I got actually her first three books. The third one, I've already gotten rid of it because that one I just really disliked it, but these two, I like them. The first one was On the Other Side, and then All That She Can See. I like them, but not that much. You know, and they're just like not my type of book, to be honest. Like, they're more on the romancy side, and I'm not really a romance type kind of gal, so yeah, I'm getting rid of these three. It's unfortunate. I also really like these covers, but like, I don't have to have her books to just like love her and admire her. So yeah, getting rid of her books. And then another similar case is with Melanie Murphy. I also really like her. She's also a YouTuber, and I just love her and admire her, as well as with Carrie. And she also wrote a nonfiction book before this one. This one is a fiction book. The nonfiction I didn't read, and I'm glad I didn't buy it and read it. But when this one came out, I was really interested in it, and I actually liked it. It was like a 3-star, 3.5. But I just don't see myself rereading it ever again. And like I said before, I can still like Melanie without having her book. And she's actually coming out with a new book this year, and I'm slightly interested, but I don't think I will get a physical copy because of reasons. So yeah, Melanie Murphy, if only. The next book that I have here is The Mercies by Kieran Millwood Hargrave. This was another like 3.5 star. I read this during a 24-hour readathon, which I have on my channel, and like at the time I liked it, but I don't see myself rereading it. And I also don't like these like really big paperback editions. I just hate them, and I've actually seen the smaller normal paperback at the store, and I've just been honestly bitter that I've had this version ever since I saw the other one. So maybe one day, if I ever want to reread it, I will get the normal paperback instead of this like huge one. So yeah, that's it. Another book that I read for a video, which was my trying Storygraph recommendations video, I read Last Night in Nook by Nivea Corneliusson, and this one was interesting, not my favorite. I think I give it 2 stars. And this was definitely interesting because of the setting, because it's set in Greenland and the author is also from Greenland, which like I had never read a book set or by an author from there, so that was interesting, but the book just wasn't my favorite, and yeah, have no purpose of keeping it. Now moving on to some mystery, thriller, and horror books. This is a genre that I just can't find my footing in. I don't know what it is, but I just can't find books that I like. The first one is The Silent Patient. This was in my worst books of 2021 video. I just really disliked this book. I don't know why I kept it this long. And yeah, that's it. The second one is one that I've actually read this year in January, and it's probably going in my worst books of 2022 as well, because I just was so disappointed by this book. And actually one of the reasons why I kept this book, the first one is the cover because I think it's gorgeous, and the second one is also another stupid reason why I keep books, is that I need to have the physical copy to hold in video. So if I want to talk about this book in my worst books of 2022, for example, I need to have the physical copy. I can just put the image on the screen, it's the same thing. I don't know why, I don't know. But yeah, it's Death in Her Hands by Tessa Moshfegh. I really liked My Year of Rest and Relaxation, so this was such a disappointment that I just didn't like it. I basically skim read the last like 50 pages because I was just so bored out of my mind, and I was just like so tired of reading this book. And this is a short book, by the way. But yeah, I just really didn't like it, so that's it. Now a horror book that I also love the cover up, but I didn't like it, and I honestly remember nothing from it even though I read it last year, and it's Weather Girls by Rory Power. Yeah, the cover is gorgeous, but there's no reason for me to keep this. This was just like an okay book, and I remember nothing, so yeah, getting rid of it. Now moving on to some YA contemporaries. So YA contemporaries are probably one of my favorite genres. I think it's kind of shifting right now, but I'm not gonna talk about it. I still love YA contemporaries, and even though I love my rainbow bookshelves of YA contemporaries that I have, back here I had to get rid of some books because just some of them I just didn't like, or just don't see myself reading them ever again. So yeah, the first one was actually a book club pick, which is sad, but it's The Last True Poets of the Sea by Julia Drake. I also love this cover. The book was kind of underwhelming, and it took me so long to read this book, and that's just not good, especially for a YA contemporary because they're like just so fast to read. It took me like a month to get through this book. That's not a good sign. I should just get rid of it. So yeah, that is the first one. Now the next one is one that I've kept for so long. It's full of dust because it's been in my collection for like 10 years. No, not 10 years, but like 8 years or something. Since the beginning of my book collection. And yeah, this one I read when it came out and I liked it at the time, but I've heard some bad reviews from Own Voices reviewers and just like people with disabilities, so I just don't see myself rereading this again. And it's Wonder by RJ Palacio. Yeah, I liked it at the time, but I don't think this book will stand the test of time, so yeah, that's it. Another reason why I've kept books is if they're gifts from people, and that is also a stupid reason to keep books. Like sometimes people give you books, obviously, but if you don't like them, that's not the person's fault, that's the book's fault. And I've always been like, oh, but that person gave me that book so I can't get rid of it. Like, that's stupid. I've already told him, but one of these books, I don't remember which one, was gifted to me by Pedro, my partner. So yeah, I've already told him that I'm getting rid of it because of reasons. So the first one is The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. And the second one is Everything, Everything by Nicola Yoon. So the first two and only Nicola Yoon books that I've read, and they were just like okay. There was actually one of them that actually made me really mad when I read it. I don't remember which one. I think it was Everything, Everything. Other two books by the same author that I'm just like, Why do I have this? I don't know. Actually, one of them I read last year for a video that was actually really fun. It was reading books from like the 2013 Tumblr era. And the first one is Isla and the Happily Ever After by Stephanie Perkins. And then the next one is Lola and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins as well. I like that these covers kind of match. They don't match because one is taller than the other. And I really like these covers, but I didn't like these books, so why am I keeping them? For no reason? For the color? For the covers? Stupid. So yeah, getting rid of those. I actually can see myself rereading this next book at some point in my life, but I don't need a physical copy for it, and it's To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I actually never finished this series. I never read the third book. The second book really pissed me off and I was just like, I hate this. But the first book for some reason has stayed with me and I really liked it when I read it. I actually feel like the problem with me in this series was that I wish it would have been just one book and it was 3 and that threw me off. But I really like the concept of this book and I, for some reason, can see myself rereading this one, but I just don't need the book for it. And also I've kept this one because I like the spine. That's so stupid. Oh my god. Another one of the pretty covers syndrome. This one is All the Bad Apples by Maura Fowley Doyle. This was a very okay book. I think I gave it 3 stars. I'm not really sure. I also kind of read the last pages because I was just kind of bored. I can tell that this book is interesting. There's a lot of like historical elements in the story that I really liked, but I just didn't like the characters and I just remember kind of nothing from it. But the cover though, this cover is gorgeous. Like I am in love, but I just don't need it, you know? Now the next one was definitely an impulse buy because it was cheap, but I bought secondhand this like little short story, Percy Jackson and the Singer of Apollo by Rick Riordan. I love Rick Riordan, but I don't need to own everything by him. This was definitely a fun story. This is like, I don't know, maybe 50 pages? Maybe even less because there's a lot of like extra content. Yeah, it's like 40 pages. And it was fun, but I just don't need to keep it. Now moving on to some classic books and classic authors. So the first one is one that I've been meaning to get rid of for a really long time. I think this is also a present by Pedro. This is so dusty, oh my god. And it's To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I really actually enjoyed this book when I read it, maybe like 5-6 years ago. I really enjoyed it, but I've heard a lot of questionable things that I just didn't think of when I was reading it for the first time. But this is a very white savior book and I don't need it in my life. So yeah. Now this next book is, I don't know why, but like I got it last year. I read it last year for class and it was like a 3-star book. And I don't know why, but the cover is full of like mold. I got it last year, I don't get it, but it's Orlando by Virginia Woolf. I actually really like these covers, but at the same time, I don't have any more of these Penguin modern classic covers, so I just don't feel like it kind of matches my collection, and also it was an okay book. I will try to clean the cover if you want this book. Like, I'm sorry, but it's full of mold. I don't know why. Now, the next few books are books that I've had for so long in my collection. And the first one I actually really didn't like, so I don't know why I kept it, but it's Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. This was one of the first classics that I read along with like 1984 and Brave New World and all of those. And this was definitely my least favorite. I didn't really like the writing, I think, and I just honestly don't need it. And the next 2 books are books by an author that I love his writing style, but I just haven't read any of his books in so long that I just don't think I will read more of his books. I don't know how to explain this. And also these covers don't match and I really don't like that. So basically the first one is Hollywood by Charles Bukowski and the next one is Hem on Rye by Charles Bukowski. This is this is a non-series series. He wrote a bunch of books following the same character in different points of his life, and I actually picked up Hollywood and I didn't really know that, so I started reading it and it was already like at the end of his life or something. And then I read Hem on Rye, which is like the first one in the series, you know, and I've just been reading these books wrong. I really like his writing, but I think if I want to read these books, I just have to start from the beginning and start fresh because I haven't read them in so long. I just don't remember anything anymore. I feel like I'm not making sense right now. I don't know why, I've been saying weird things. I can't really explain why I'm getting rid of these books, but I am, so yeah. Now the next one is More About Paddington by Michael Bond. I read this one last year as well and I really liked it, but this one doesn't match my edition of the first book that I have, which I really like, and like I bought the secondhand and the picture on the website was the one, like the edition that I wanted. And I didn't get it. I got this one, which is like really old and just like terrible, so I don't want this edition of the book. I have to get rid of this one. Also, I think if I want to read these books, maybe I will just like read as an ebook or something, maybe. Now the next one is a book that I got just because I thought this edition was really beautiful, but I don't know, I don't even like the story that much. I got this at a flea market and it's basically this 70s edition of the Sleeping Beauty story from Disney, and it has illustrations and everything, and I love this edition, but I just don't like Sleeping Beauty, so why would I keep it? And also I'm not going to read it. And yeah. That's it, I think. Now moving on to some fantasy. So the first one that I have here is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I read this one last year as well, and I don't know, my expectations for this were really high because The Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite books and stories, and this was okay, I guess. And I just don't think I will continue with the series. This is like a 5 book series and it's just a lot of work and I'm kind of done with series, to be honest. So yeah, that is one. Then another book series that I'm probably not going to continue, unfortunately, and I know that a lot of people will be mad and sad that I won't continue with these books, but the first one left me kind of not wanting to pick up the second one, and I'm just not gonna force myself. And it's The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. Like I said before, I'm kind of done with series. That's what I'm starting to understand, and I just have too many of them going on right now, and I think I will finish those and that's it. Honestly, I'm more of a standalone kind of gal for fantasy, for any kind of genre, so yeah, this is one that I just have to let go because it didn't really pique my interest to continue, so I just have to be honest with myself, unfortunately. Now the next one is one that I honestly, right now I have no opinion on it because I read it so long ago that I just don't remember anything anymore, and it's The Power by Naomi Alderman. I just don't remember if I like this one or not. That's honestly my opinion, and I don't want to reread it to find out. So yeah, I've heard a lot of great things about this one, but I kind of feel like I didn't like it, but maybe I did. I don't know. This next one is another book series that I don't want to continue, another book cover that I just think is absolutely gorgeous and I'm kind of sad of getting rid of it, and also was a book gifted to me, and yeah, like those reasons are fair, but I just need to be honest with myself. And it's Middle Game by Shannon McGuire. I don't think that Shannon McGuire's books are for me. I like her writing, but just like her type of story is not just something that I'm interested in. This was a gift from Elliot. I'm so sorry, Elliot. I will keep your little note, obviously. And I just feel like someone will love this book a lot more than I did. I read it and it was just like a 3-star for me, so I just need to get rid of it. So yeah. And now to conclude this unhaul, I have some Portuguese books and a book in Portuguese, not by a Portuguese author. That first one is On Photography by Susan Sontag. I've heard a lot of great things about Susan Sontag, and when I read this book a couple of years ago, I really liked it, but I feel like if I want to read Susan Sontag, I want to read it in English. This one is in Portuguese. So yeah, I kind of want a different edition of this book, and maybe then I will reread it. But also, I've heard a lot of great things about other Susan Sontag books, so maybe I'll pick up those books instead of this one. And the next 2 books are books by Portuguese authors that I've actually read this year. And one of them is probably my least favorite book of this year so far. I DNF'd it, I just couldn't take it any longer. It's also signed by the author if you're interested in that, and it was Lola by Katia Vieira. I just hated this book, honestly. This is probably going to be my least favorite book of the year. I don't think anything can top this. This was just so bad. I hated the writing. This was so pretentious and I just didn't connect with anything in the story. I tried to, but I just couldn't. I couldn't get past like the 100 pages or something. So yeah, that was unfortunate. And the next book is one that I'm actually also kind of sad that I'm getting rid of, but I love the writing of this author. This was my first time reading a book by him, but I just don't feel like the story was interesting enough for me to keep the book because of the writing, you know. And it's Flores by Afonso Cruz. I also love this cover, but the story didn't connect with me at all. Yeah, that's it. I have no other reason for keeping it, honestly. And yeah, that concludes my unhaul of 30 something books. Like I said in the beginning, if you want to buy any of these books, you can check my trade stories link down below. I will have all of the books linked there. Please don't be offended if I unhauled any of your favorite books. It's nothing personal. I'm just trying to declutter my life right now, just like in terms of everything. So I had to get rid of some books, and it's honestly good because I already didn't have space for more books, so now I have space for books that I will actually enjoy and will love. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!